You may not have realized it, but some people think we have been living in an age of austerity. Now President Obama wants that age to end. This is Special Report. Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. More domestic spending, fewer benefit reductions. Those are the bottom lines to President Obama's new budget, which is being characterized as an abandonment of his so-called grand bargain attempt with Republicans. White House correspondent Wendell Goler has reaction tonight.
A day after withdrawing his support for a Republican-backed budget proposal, President Obama pressed the nation's governors to raise the minimum wage.
This is not just good policy, it also happens to be good politics.
Critics say Mr. Obama's decision to drop a Social Security benefits calculation, which would scale back cost of living increases, is better politics than policy and is intended to rally progressive Democrats. By applying the formula to Medicare as well, Georgia Republican Congressman Tom Price says the savings could be substantial.
You can get in the $300 billion range, which is a down payment on solving the challenges that we have. It doesn't solve them.
As a candidate, Mr. Obama said he wanted to slow the growth of Social Security and Medicare in his first term.
We're going to have to take on entitlements, and I think we've got to do it quickly.
But as president, he has found seniors' benefits are a hot issue. Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky from his home state is strongly opposed to the change.
1 out of 3 Social Security beneficiaries rely on it for 90% or more of their income. It really means about 14 weeks of food for a person 75 years old. This is real money.
White House Press Secretary Jay Carney says the offer's still on the table if Republicans match it with some tax revenue.
This was a give as part of a give and take.
Carney blames Republicans, particularly House Speaker John Boehner, for not accepting what Mr. Obama calls a grand bargain, closing tax loopholes and reining in entitlements. And he says Mr. Obama's done a lot without the bargain.
Under this president, the deficit has come down faster than at any time since World War II. The deficit is meeting the target of being cut by half and then some.
But much of those savings were forced by Republicans, and Congressman Price says the real problem is continued borrowing.
The American people know that you can't reduce the deficits and the debt until you balance the budget.
Mr. Obama's decision is seen as an effort to help Democrats preserve control of the Senate and perhaps gain seats in the House. But some analysts think Democratic losses might force Republicans to compromise.
It shifts responsibility a little bit more towards Republicans, where if they controlled both houses of Congress, they would have to come up with something as well on their end.
Andrew Biggs says Bill Clinton is the model for that, noting the welfare reforms he signed after Republicans took control of Congress. But no president actually thinks he's better off by losing control of the House or Senate. Brett?
Wendell Goler live on the North Lawn. Wendell, thank you. Sales of existing homes fell about 5% in January. That's the worst pace in 18 months. Stocks were down today. The Dow lost 30. The S&P 500 fell 3.5. The Nasdaq was off 4. For the 4-day week, the Dow was down 1/3 of a percentage point. The S&P 500 slipped 1/10. The Nasdaq was up almost 0.5%. Late this afternoon, the administration released information about the latest cuts of the popular Medicare Advantage program. The president's health care overhaul mandated cuts to that program over concerns the government was overpaying insurance companies. But Chief National Correspondent Jim Angle tells us many Democrats say cutting Medicare Advantage would be of no advantage to them at all.
Frank Little, age 70, is one of some 15 million seniors who signed up for Medicare Advantage, a part of Medicare that delivers more options and better prices.
Well, the Advantage plan is so much better because there's competition, or there was in the marketplace.
Frank has a nest egg, but 6 in 10 beneficiaries make only $10,000 to $30,000 a year and like the program because they don't have to buy Medigap plans for things Medicare doesn't cover.
Medicare Advantage is this larger package that takes care of a doctor, a hospital, a prescription drug coverage, combines it all into one premium, so they keep it simple for their own billing.
Though the Obama administration continues to make cuts, 40 senators of both parties, including Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer from the leadership and Michael Bennet, chair of the Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee, wrote the administration urging no more cuts, calling the program, quote, a great success, and saying cuts create disruption and confusion. But with $200 billion in cuts coming, the plans are disappearing, with officials predicting a 33% decline in enrollment by 2015, prompting this ad from insurers.
We will talk, we will spread the word. No more cuts to Medicare Advantage. You know, we vote.
Frank and his wife live in Virginia Beach, Virginia, where several plans have dwindled to one.
So I called Anthem, which I'd had before. I said, "What's up?" And they said, "Well, things are too up in the air right now. We're kind of concerned about where things are going and this and that, and we decided just to pull out of the market."
It's meant the elimination of 26% of the Medicare Advantage plans, and that means that a lot of seniors are running into what we've heard so much about. If you like your plan, you get to keep it. Oops, no. And now they have to get a new plan, and that means new doctors.
Unlike regular Medicare, the Advantage program has minimum standards for both the availability of doctors and the drive times to see them, something important to seniors who often have multiple problems. Frank had open heart surgery after his regular doctor spotted a problem.
If you have somebody that's brand new that doesn't know your body and you're old, you got a problem.
Now, analysts say 400 plans have already been canceled, leaving many seniors searching for a doctor who will take them. Another 200 plans are getting pared back, just the beginning of 10 years of cuts. Democrats fear that'll have repercussions at the ballot box, where seniors are always among the most reliable voters. Brett.
Okay, Jim, thank you. West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin appeared to take another step away from the health care law at a town hall this week, saying, quote, "I will vote tomorrow to repeal the ACA, but I want to fix the problems in it." The senator's office clarified his remarks today. Quote, "I have never supported repealing the Affordable Care Act because I came to Washington to find solutions to our country's problems." A Republican governor and possible presidential candidate is in the spotlight as opponents try to stir up a scandal. But it's not who you think. Chief political correspondent Carl Cameron with new news on old news about a man many consider a rising political star.
Wisconsin Republican Governor Scott Walker is in D.C. today for the National Governors Association annual meeting. Back home, he's in the morning headlines statewide. Emails released by a Wisconsin court indicate when Walker was Milwaukee County executive and running for governor in 2010, he was copied on emails from county staffers who've since been convicted of illegally working on Walker's gubernatorial campaign from their county desks and using an off-book email system to hide it. Ever since, the Wisconsin Democratic Party and liberals have been trying to take Walker down.
What did the president know, and when did he first know it?
What did Scott Walker know, and when did he know it?
But the case was closed a year ago, and prosecutors have consistently said they did not have evidence to charge Walker, and he was not a target. Political scientists see little threat to Walker's political future.
Walker wasn't even involved in the sending of these emails. So, you know, it's pretty thin gruel.
Even though the case is closed, liberal super PACs on the Democratic National Committee are now pushing comparisons to the ongoing state and federal investigation into Republican New Jersey Governor Chris Christie's administration and the George Washington Bridge lane closing controversy. Walker has not commented since his staffers' emails were made public, but beforehand he predicted that the left's attempts to create a firestorm will fizzle. Quote, "It's exactly what's wrong with the political process, that they're hoping for something bad to happen in Wisconsin. It's not. They're going to do what they've done in the past, which is overhype things, and politically they're going to be disappointed." But it is a negative distraction. Walker's seeking re-election this year, and as governor, he's wowed the right by rejecting federal money to expand Medicaid, fighting teachers' unions, expanding school vouchers, and cutting taxes more than $500 million. He's also eyeing a 2016 White House run and had hoped to avoid too much attention until next year.
Will Democrats or even his Republican opponents create TV ads out of it? Of course. That's the way politics works. But it doesn't mean that people will see this as a serious matter. I think most people are going to shrug.
And there are already signs that attempts to scandalize Walker may not work. Today, even the online publication Politico, which is known to have hyped a scandal or two, called the Walker story a snoozer. Brett?
All right, Carl, thank you. Well, what do you think? Do you think Walker should be worried? Let me know at facebook.com/BrettBairSR or on Twitter @BrettBair, and you use the hashtag Special Report. Governor Walker, by the way, will be Chris Wallace's guest Sunday on Fox News Sunday. That should be an interesting interview to watch. Check listings for times and channels. Rocker and activist Ted Nugent has apologized for comments he made about President Obama. Nugent told radio host Ben Ferguson today he was sorry for describing the president as a, quote, subhuman mongrel. Several Republican politicians had called on Nugent to apologize. Nugent has been campaigning for Texas Republican gubernatorial candidate Greg Abbott. The Federal Communications Commission, the FCC, is backing off its plan to question news professionals about how they make their editorial decisions. Word of the prospective study has outraged journalists, civil libertarians, and many others. Today, the FCC put out a release stating media owners and journalists will no longer be asked to participate, and the study will be redesigned. Up next, President Obama and Putin talk to each other about the troubles in Ukraine. But first, here's what some of our Fox affiliates across the country are covering tonight. Fox 2 in Detroit, with the city's plan to emerge from bankruptcy, it pours money into aging infrastructure while cutting benefits to retirees and payments to Wall Street creditors. WSVN in Miami, with a South Florida woman stopping on the highway to perform CPR on her baby nephew. The child was transported to a hospital where he's said at this hour to be doing much better. And this is a live look at Chicago from our affiliate there, Fox 32. The big story there tonight is a ruling by a federal judge allowing gay couples to get married in Cook County starting tomorrow. The state's new law allowing same-sex marriages does not take effect until June. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.